differentiation. Okay, yeah, thank you. So in the last lecture, we have discussed about like qualitative and also quite a bit about quantitative research methodology, in which primarily we have discussed about much about the qualitative research, like what are the different methods of qualitative research, what are the different nuances of qualitative research, how do you analyze that, what are the differentiations between qualitative and quantitative research. All these things were discussed in the last class very thoroughly. I hope that got clear to all of you. In the quantitative research, since it is almost covered in the last lecture also, like it was almost like the like full coverage of quantitative research as well in the last lecture. Now what we can do, we can move on the further steps in the research. Okay, उसके बाद में क्या हो सकता है उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा हम लोग ये करेंगे. जैसे ही आप लोग डेटा कलेक्शन करेंगे with different tools, with different sample groups, with different sample sizes, right? You will be conducting that data, and data will be one of the major contributor to your study. आपके स्टडी को डेटा ही जो है वो सब्सटेंशिएट करता है, राइट? Data is something which is very very important for your study, otherwise there is no point in doing research, right? So thereby research is something which is fully depend upon the data, how what quality data that you gather from the field, that actually supports you, or that actually gives a better understanding for the research. Okay, so once you collect the data, so you definitely have to do the cleaning, you definitely have to do some kind of scrutiny, you also have to check the errors, whether there are any errors in the data. आपने जो भी like for example, if you have for some of the peoples you may have 100 number of sample, for some of the peoples you may have 200 sample, for some of the people it may be less or more number. I don't know what number is exactly there for your research, uh, that you have sampled. But my suggestion is that, like, you definitely have to clean your data. Once you collect the full data, you're in between also checking out whether that data is being properly getting collected or not. Okay, whether that is matching to your objectives to or not, whether that is justifying the data that you are receiving from the field, वो आपके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स के साथ जस्टिफाई कर रहा है क्या, आपके जस्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव्स के हिसाब से वो डेटा आ रहा है क्या. नहीं आ रहा है तो आपको पहले 10-15 क्वेश्चनर्स भरने के बाद, 10-15 जो भी रेस्पोंडेंट्स के साथ आपने बात किया, उसके बाद आपको समझ में आता है कि किस दिशा में आपका डेटा कलेक्शन चल रहा है. अगर वो गलत दिशा में जा रहा है, अगर अगर वो इफ इट इज गोइंग फ्रॉम अ इन अ डिफरेंट वे, ओके, देन इट माइट बी लीडिंग टू अ रॉन्ग इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ योर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. ठीक है, क्योंकि आपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स कुछ कुछ सेट किए हैं, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली आपका टॉपिक भी है, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली आपका आपके रिसर्च क्वेश्चंस भी है, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली आपने आपका कॉन्सेप्चुअल फ्रेमवर्क भी बनाया है. सो लाइकवाइज it is expected that your data also should come. Okay, maybe in quality research there can be some kind of differences, but at the same time you as a researcher have to keep in mind that your data in a right direction, you're receiving the data in the right direction, that matters a lot. Okay, so please keep this in mind while collecting data. You also have to cross check in between that whether you are collecting data properly or not, whether. Hello. Yeah, I'm sorry, there was a disturbance, bit of disturbance. So you'll have to keep in mind that whether your data is into the right direction or not. Okay, so once you collect data, you definitely have to make a plan, that a plan of cleaning the data. ठीक है, अगर आपका डेटा क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च क्वांटिटेटिव फॉर्म में है तो उसके लिए आपको एक कोड बुक बनाना पड़ेगा. ओके. ओके, सो उसके उसके बाद में मेथड यूज्ड टू एनालाइज डेटा, व्हिच मेथड्स आर used to analyze the data, and statistical packages. जैसे आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर अवेयर ऑफ एसपीएसएस. एसपीएसएस तो जानते ही होंगे सब लोग, राइट?
Yes, sir.
सबको आता भी है.
Yes, sir. In my thesis, we form the operations in that only.
ओके, अगर मैम परमिट करते हैं, हेमांगी मैम, बाद में तो हम लोग कभी अभी नहीं, लेकिन ये मतलब थियोरेटिकल पार्ट होने के बाद एसपीएसएस का भी हम लोग एक आध दो सेशन कर सकते हैं. एसपीएसएस के लिए थोड़ा सा समय लगता है, क्योंकि प्रैक्टिस में होना चाहिए. सो वी कैन प्रॉब्ली प्लान फॉर दैट, बट इनिशियली व्हाट वी कैन डू, आप कौन सा पैकेज यूज करने वाले हैं? एसपीएसएस यूज करने वाले हैं, स्टेटा यूज करने वाले हैं, या there are multiple statistical packages that can be used for analysis of data. But initially, what I suggest, SPSS is the best one for you all to go ahead with, because since you all are like early stage researchers. But if you wanted to, I mean, if your data is in a large size, if your data is in like you want analysis in a different way, then there are multiple other statistical packages as well. Like for example, CS Pro is there. Then we have Stata is also there. Then Python is also one of the package that can also be used for data analysis. Then we have SPSS is of course there. Then I think Power BI and many more such. Okay, so all of these packages can be used for quantitative data analysis. Getting my point? Quantitative data analysis. Now for qualitative data analysis, we have two different packages. One is Atlas TI, which is across the places known. And then we have another one is NVO. Okay. So through these two softwares, and there are others also, like nowadays there is every day, every month, every 6 months, year, there is an introduction of different packages, different tools, different like inventions in the softwares. But usually, as far as we all are acquainted with, is qualitative for qualitative data, NVO and Atlas TI are the ones, those who are quite largely used across the places. So NVO and Atlas TI can be used for the qualitative data analysis. Okay. Now do you think that like some people may think that like यही तो पैकेज, ये पैकेजेस तो हमको आते ही नहीं. So अभी अगर without softwares, without statistical packages, or without any kind of this kind of softwares, can we do the data analysis? My answer is definitely yes. Okay, जब लैपटॉप नहीं थे उस टाइम पे भी हम लोग डेटा एनालिसिस करते ही थे. जब there was no any kind of दूसरा कुछ ये भी नहीं था, डिजिटल सोर्सेस नहीं थे, रिसोर्सेस नहीं थे, उस टाइम पे भी डेटा एनालिसिस होता ही था, राइट? सो इन दैट केस देयर इज नो लाइक देयर इज आई मीन देयर इज नो काइंड ऑफ आई मीन उसको क्या बोल सकते हैं कि ऐसा नहीं है कि यू कैन नॉट डू दैट एनालिसिस विदाउट सॉफ्टवेयर्स. यू कैन डेफिनेटली डू इट, बट एट दिस in this era, in this digital world, and in this kind of advancement, you should definitely I strongly suggest all of you to please, even though your sample size is very small, even though your sample size is just 10, 15, 20 for qualitative research, and 50, 100 or 200 for quantitative research, doesn't matter. आपका सैंपल साइज छोटा भी है तो भी आप ये जो सॉफ्टवेयर अलग अलग जो ये है सॉफ्टवेयर है वो यूज ही करो, सो दैट आपको फ्यूचर में उसका एटलीस्ट थोड़ा सा प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगा इनिशियली एट दिस मोमेंट, एंड इन फ्यूचर इट विल बी डेफिनेटली beneficial for you. Okay, so all these statistical packages are to be used all these analysis packages are to be used by all the researchers, so that it will definitely benefit them for the further course of action in their future. Okay? So this kind of plan you'll have to make. Scope and limitations of the study. You definitely have to write the scope and limitations of your study while writing analysis plan. You should definitely know that, like, what was the scope of my study, what were the limitations of my study. Whose related you can write one or two or three large size paragraphs. Then in the analysis plan, you can also write down your experiences of the researcher. For example, somebody is doing research on gender based experiences of the people, right? Now, if you are doing gender based research, you will definitely have different challenges to collect the data, right? You will definitely have a lot of challenges in terms of getting responses from the female participants. So in that case, you can or maybe sometimes reaching out to them could also become a challenge for you. So in that case, what were the responses, what were the like people's kind of expressions when you are visiting them, when you are collecting data from them. That has to that is kind of called experiences of a researcher. So that on that also you can definitely write a kind of one or two slides of your slides, one or two pages or 3 pages in your research. Okay. Ethics in research, and this is a part of this PPT is part of social work research, but the ethics analysis and dissertation is something which is similar to all the research, like dissertations or all the research papers. So ethics. Did I cover ethics in before previously in the previous any of the sessions?
Yes, sir. Some points under ethical consideration.
I have covered, right?
Yes,
So I
sir.
will not waste my time in this, right? Okay. Writing a thesis or dissertation. Now, this is something which I would like to cover in today's session. Elements of the thesis or dissertation. Definitely, it should be a original work. Nowadays, you have lot many AI tools. Like kind of some of the AIs which are helping out for the paraphrasing, rephrasing your original writings. But some of the AI tools which are generative AIs. So generative AIs, what they are doing? They are directly writing a kind of proposal for you. They are directly writing a even thesis also in some cases is for you. So that is not your own contribution, right? That is a AI driven research, or that is something which has a copyright concerns, which has a significant other concerns if you are claiming that as your own research. So in that case, your research must be an original work which makes a significant contribution to the knowledge in an understanding of particular field of study, because you are investing your time, you are investing your skills, you are investing your knowledge into that particular theme, into that particular area problem area. So in that case, it should be originally produced by you, originally written by you, which should also should not have kind of AI uses. A lot of AI uses also should not be there. I'm not denying that, like, you should not use AI. You should definitely leverage the AI platforms whichever are there in the digital platforms. But my suggestion is, please do not use them excessively just for understanding purposes, or just for some kind of maybe sometimes you would like to get a structure, or for a brief understanding about it. You should definitely use it, but for writing of your research, for writing of your papers, for writing of your any other concepts, even sometimes you use it for writing your objectives, title of your research. So it should not be used in that way. So it should be original work which makes a significant contribution to the knowledge in an understanding of the particular field of the study. Okay? It demonstrates its relationship to the general corpus of knowledge in the field. So what does thesis or dissertation does is it demonstrates its relationship to the general corpus of knowledge in the field. Okay, in short, it is a presentation of the results of original research. I'm using original twice, thrice research in a critical or a scholarly fashion. Okay? So thesis is something which is very original work, very a work which is well structured, which has definitely a definite significance, which also demonstrate its relationship to the general corpus of knowledge in the field. And it is kind of a book. Okay, it is kind of a book which is authored by you, on which your name will appear, and which will be considered as your own work. When we call it your own work, that should be your original work. That should be your work which is actually like kind of done by you with by applying all the ethical considerations. Okay. What is the format of the thesis or dissertation? So kind of preliminaries, then text, references, appendices, these are all some of the areas where definitely you'll have to keep in mind. So in the preliminaries, you have to write a title page. Okay, you should definitely create a good title page with whichever many times what happens, different universities or different institutions also, they have their own manual of styles. They have their own kind of guidelines to write a thesis, to write a dissertation, to write any project report. Okay. So usually for a like large kind of studies like the PhD level studies or PhD level research, no, for that it is called a thesis. Thesis is called of a PhD level. This is for the but for the master's level or MPhil level, it is called dissertation. So which is definitely has a both of these has a very scientific rigor, but there is a bit difference between both of these. Okay. So in the preliminaries, what you should keep in mind: title page, acknowledgement, abstract. In the acknowledgement, definitely you should acknowledge each and every element of your element that has helped you to you in your like from beginning to end of your research. Whoever has actually contributed to your research, they should be listed in your acknowledgement. Okay. If you have received any kind of funding from any of the agencies, if you have received any kind of internship kind of certificates, also some of you are also doing internships, no? So if that is also there is a contribution in that research, in your research, that also should be mentioned in your acknowledgement. So acknowledgement is something which is a credit that you are giving to the people, some of those who have actually contributed, or those who have kind of supported to you in your research. So that you should always keep in mind while writing an acknowledgement. Now abstract अगर के बारे में अगर layman language में अगर बोला जाए तो abstract is an आईना of your research. It is kind of a mirror of your research. Okay. Abstract should actually kind of a brief summary, a brief like gist of your entire thesis or your entire dissertation, that gives a early picture of your research. So whoever is the reader of your thesis, whoever is going to read that particular dissertation, they should first read an abstract. और वो abstract पढ़ने के बाद उनको समझ में आएगा कि आगे जाना है या नहीं जाना है इस thesis को पढ़ने के लिए. So always you also while referring or while citing some others research, no, you should also keep in mind that you should also write an abstract in such a way where the readers will get an idea of your research before going ahead with the further reading of your thesis. ओके जैसे आप भी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट पढ़ के दूसरों का थीसिस पढ़ना है, पूरा पढ़ना है या नहीं पढ़ना है, ये करते हैं, वैसे ही आपने भी वैसे ही लिखना चाहिए, सो दैट द रीडर विल गेट टू नो दैट लाइक वेदर द एंटायर थीसिस शुड बी रिटन और नॉट. Okay, so abstract should be ideally, if it is a small sized research like for example 100 pages, 150 pages or 200 pages, then we should write an abstract with like around 400 to 500 words, okay, so that it will entirely give a proper or maybe you can go ahead with 600 words or 1000 words in maximum cases for the thesis or something like that. Okay, so abstract should be also written. Table of content. People nowadays, people are making a lot of mistakes in creating table of content. Previously we had traditional style of writing table of content, but nowadays MS Office have its own inbuilt option to create automatic table of content format. Okay, you need not to go ahead with you need not to do it manually. आप उसको आराम से इससे कर सकते हो MS ऑफिस से। सो अच्छे से जो भी पॉइंटर्स आपको ये करने हैं, हाईलाइट करने हैं टेबल ऑफ कंटेंट में, उसमें आप उसको MS ऑफिस में उसको आप क्या करो, level 1 2 3 4 whatever levels you would like to give to each of those points, you can definitely give those levels, and then accordingly you can list them, which will definitely appear with their roll numbers in the table of content when you refresh that particular table of content. Okay, so table of content should also be automatically generated in the MS Office, should not be generated in the manual way. Okay, which will definitely have a chances of lot many errors if you are doing it manually. If you are doing it automatically by with the use of by the use, I mean, if you are using MacBook, then you have different options. But if you are using MacBook means like if you are using Pages as one of the doc style in MacBook, so that will definitely have a different style. But in general, for the other machines, like if you have MS Office in your laptop, you can definitely go ahead with the automatic table of content option which is there. List of abbreviations. So now abbreviations, we definitely should make a list of all those abbreviations. उसको ऐसे ही बीच में कहीं तो छोड़ के नहीं रखना है, otherwise people will be confused. Those who are readers are there, no? So they should not be confused like what that particular acronym means. ठीक है? Then you should also definitely make a list of tables. आपके थीसिस में जो भी टेबल्स, फिगर्स हो या इमेजेस हो, जो भी आपने यूज किए हैं आपके डिसर्टेशन में या थीसिस में, सो उसका भी एक अच्छे से लिस्ट ऑफ टेबल्स बनाना है. देन लिस्ट ऑफ illustrations. So whatever some of the concepts, some of the like small kind of like concepts that we use, which are locally known concepts, or maybe sometimes. So for that also you should definitely make a list of all those things as well. Now what I will say that like how to write an abstract, I will quickly tell you, although I have already explained it to you. But abstract is written in a past tense. Okay, it is one page summary report. Okay, then it should mention what the study is and the purpose of the present study. Okay, then brief description of the methodology of the study, then summary of findings and implications of the findings of the subject study. Is this making sense?
Yes, sir.
Are you all there with me as of now? ठीक. So then in the next phase you should definitely go ahead with the well defined chapters in your research. You should definitely do a chapterization in your research. The chapterization should be in a sequential manner. It should not be randomly here and there. मतलब रिजल्ट्स पहले ही आ रहे हैं और मेथोडोलॉजी बाद में जा रहा है, डिस्कशन कहीं और ही घूम रहा है. सो ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. इट शुड बी इन अ प्रॉपर सीक्वेंशियल मैनर. The sequence that has been arranged in your proposal, the sequence that should be followed in any of the scientific research should be followed in while writing the thesis as well. Okay, so definitely your chapter 1, which is kind of a theoretical background, the introductory background, the overall background of your research. So maybe you can start with the background of the study, or maybe introduction to the study, then with many citations, in-text citations, and different conceptual frameworks, or many other areas whichever are being covered in that should be written. Sometimes what we do in many of the educational institutions, it is suggested that you should also have a second chapter on literature review. Okay, so although here I have written chapter 1 as a theoretical background, but what I suggest to all of you, that also you should add second chapter as literature review only. Okay, so in the literature review, again you are giving a brief summary of that before starting that chapter, and then accordingly you are writing the literature review, whatever literature that has been referred in your study. You are sequentially again with, or maybe thematically you are arranging that, and then you are writing it down till the end, and properly concisely you are summarizing it at the end. Okay, so that is your second chapter, which is literature review. Now the third chapter can be research methodology, chapter 3, although it is here it is written chapter 2, but in that you should definitely write as a research methodology, third chapter. So in the research methodology you are again writing proper, I will, yeah, definitely there is a description about all these things. So what you can do, research methodology, results, chapter 4, discussion, recommendations, and conclusions. So yeah, so this can definitely depend upon the type of research. Sometimes if you're writing some other project report, or as per the requirement of some other agency's report, in that case you can definitely decide whether to write the chapter number or not. You sometimes they suggest that don't go ahead with the chapter number and all, just write down the themes of the research. But what you can do, uh, for your research you should definitely follow chapter 1 as the introduction of the study, chapter 2 introduction or the theoretical background, chapter 2 research methodology, chapter 3 chapter 2 literature review, chapter 3 research methodology, chapter 4 results, or maybe data analysis you can say. And then within that also you may have 2 3 data analysis chapters. So chapter 1, one theme can be given. Chapter 4, one theme can be given. Chapter 5, one theme can be given. Chapter 6, one theme can be given. And then chapter 4, like how many, 8 can be given as a discussion, recommendation, and conclusion. ये थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजिंग हो गया क्या?
No, sir, it's totally fine.
क्लियर नो? हाँ, ठीक है. So then in the theoretical background, it includes the problem statement. As I said, you can divide the literature review from the introduction chapter. If you wanted to write literature review within that only, that is also done by many researchers. If you don't want, or if it is not suggested by your guide, or per se by your university, then you can definitely differentiate that. But it can definitely be added in the introduction chapter, or it can also be separated from the introduction chapter. So however, whichever ways, it should definitely as per the guidelines of your university, or as per the suggestions by your research guide. Okay, so literature review, then scope of research, within that only it should be written. Rationale for the present research, what is the rationale, what actually rational, because rationalization is very very important in the research, right? So what is the rationale behind your research? Then study objectives and hypothesis, what are the study objectives and hypotheses that you have set for your research? Research questions can also be written in that. Okay, then in the methodology you are writing key concepts and their operational definitions. One second. Funny. Okay. In the methodology, key concepts and their operational definitions. Then research design, whichever research design, whether it is exploratory research design, explanatory, or descriptive, whichever is the design. Sources of data collection. Within that only you can write the type, which method of research that has been used, whether it is qualitative, quantitative. Sources of data sampling and techniques and procedures. All these things has to be, minutely written. It should be written in a proper way, and it should also be rationalized as well. So it should properly be written. Then data collection strategies. What were the strategies of data, strategies that have been used for the data collection? Huh? Then data processing. How did you done the data processing? Then analysis plan. What was the analysis plan that you have done? Within that, you can also mention that, like, whether you have used, how did you analyze the data, that can also be written. Then you can definitely write your scope and limitations of the study in the methodology section itself. Okay. Then results. Using appropriate statistics and providing data interpretation in a simple and clear manner. Logical sequence should also be there. Testing hypothesis, whether the data did or did not support the hypothesis tested. Results presented with relevant statistics without citations and discussions of implications for them and practice should also be mentioned in the results section, because results section is something which is very, very important section, right? Here itself you are definitely writing the entire gist of your research. Okay. Then discussion, recommendation, and conclusion. This can be named as you want, but definitely usually and largely written discussion, recommendation, and conclusion only. It should be thematically and uh, arranged, not finding wise. Okay, thematically. For example, you are writing one theme: socio-economic profile of the respondents. This is one of the themes, right? Within that, you are taking out all the variables that you have interviewed and analyzed. ठीक है? So उसके रिलेटेड जो भी टेबल्स है, उसके रिलेटेड जो भी डेटा है, that you are arranging in the thematically, I mean in that particular theme, socio-economic theme. ठीक है? No repeating the results chapter. So repetitions of the findings, repetitions of the tables doesn't make any sense, right? So don't make it, don't use them. So there is no point in using that, right? So let us not do the repetition to just like add the number of pages in your research. Sometimes scholars or sometimes some early stage researchers try to do that, कि हम लोग दो चार टेबल्स एक्स्ट्रा डालेंगे उसको रीनेम करके, तो शायद हमारे 4-5 पेजेस बढ़ सकते हैं. सो पेजेस बढ़ाने के लिए रिसर्च मत करो. If there is a repetition, don't do it. If you can include that within that particular table itself or in that particular finding itself, then it is okay. Okay. Discuss the implications of the findings made. So whatever implications which are there of that particular finding, that can also be written in the discussion chapter itself. Then explain findings in the light of prevailing research findings and theories. So you will have to definitely interlink the findings with the research findings, the existing theories, the literature that has been referred. So that should definitely have a kind of discussion between each of them. So for example, in a simple way, you can write that like what they say and what you say. You say means your research say. Okay. So what are they saying? What are you saying? And what is actually the flow of your research? What is actually coming out from it, coming out as a conclusion? Okay. So explain findings in light of prevailing research findings and theories. Stating recommendations, areas for further research. रिसर्च में हमेशा स्कोप होता है और कुछ एक्सप्लोर करने का, राइट? आपने एक बार रिसर्च किया, इसका मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि रिसर्च बाद में नहीं हो जाएगा. No, there is always a scope, right? So you should be able to identify that scope as well. Okay, so that kind of scope identification and that also be written in the should also be written in the in that particular chapter itself. Okay, stating recommendations, whatever recommendations or way forwards can also be written in this particular chapter itself. Clear and concise conclusion draw in relation to the study objectives. Now this is something which is all most of the times is in interest of the readers. रीडर्स क्या करते हैं, एक तो आपका एब्स्ट्रैक्ट देखते हैं और उसके बाद में डायरेक्टली दे मूव ऑन द कंक्लूजन. कभी कभी आप लोग कुछ कुछ लोग फॉर एग्जांपल पीएचडी का रिसर्च 200 300 400 500 पेजेस का होता है जनरली. ऐसे बड़े बड़े बुक्स तैयार होते हैं. सो पीपल मे नॉट हैव दैट मच ऑफ टाइम टू रीड दैट एंटायर थीसिस, राइट. 400 पेज कौन पढ़ते जाएगा, बैठेगा, या 300 पेज कौन पढ़ेगा. So in that case, what they refer is mostly first definitely abstract, and most of the time they refer the conclusion. I am not suggesting that you should only jump on the conclusion directly, but people do that, right? Or they maximum what they do, they read the discussion, recommendation, and conclusion chapter. ये chapter पढ़ते. So this chapter is something which is very very important, entirely very very important chapter. So it should be clear, concise conclusion drawn in relation to the study objectives. आपके जो भी study objectives हैं should be highlighted. Should be highlighted means not as it is, but should be touched upon. इसको बोलते हैं कि उसको आपने ये किया है, टच किया है, उसके उसके within that link only you are writing the conclusion. So that way the conclusion should appear in your thesis. I don't know which referencing style you people are using. Many
Sir,
times
APA.
APA only, right?
APA.
Okay. So APA referencing style is largely used in many of the academic research universities. But at the same time, let me tell you, there are multiple referencing styles based on the publisher's adaptability, acceptability. ओके. सो अगर आप रिसर्च आर्टिकल पब्लिश कर रहे हो तो हर एक जर्नल का या हर एक पब्लिशर का अपना अपना एक रेफरेंसिंग स्टाइल है और एक फॉर्मेट है दैट दे टेल यू इन द ऑथर्स गाइडलाइन instructions itself. So you should definitely follow that particular. If you are publishing a paper, whether you will have to use APA referencing style or any other referencing style, that has to be checked on that particular publisher's website itself. यूनिवर्सिटी रिसर्च में आप डिसर्टेशन कर रहे हो, थीसिस कर रहे हो, जनरली एपीए स्टाइल इज मोस्ट प्रेफर्ड. एपीए स्टाइल से ही बहुत सारे लोग, बहुत सारे यूनिवर्सिटीज एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. लेकिन आपके यूनिवर्सिटी का अगर अलग ये है स्टाइल बताया है उन लोगों ने रेफरेंसिंग का, तो डेफिनेटली यू कैन फॉलो दैट स्टाइल. ठीक है. आजकल रेफरेंसिंग स्टाइल, हाउ डू यू डू दैट? लाइक somebody can tell me, like, how do you write down the references? Is there any format software that you are using?
So through Zotero or Mendeley.
Mendeley or Zotero. Okay. All of you are well versed with Mendeley or Zotero? Others? Do you all know Mendeley, Zotero, Tableau? I think some of you know, some of you don't know, right? That's how it is, I think. Yeah. So what we can do, we can probably need to conduct a session on that as well, I think. But yeah, Zotero is something which is widely used. You can definitely use. Uh, I am strongly suggesting you to use softwares. So Zotero को use करो. उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा time बच जाता है, and it is quite accurate as well. To like you just have to select the style, like referencing style in that, and then accordingly it can use easily be it will easily generate a reference for you. So you need to spend a lot of time manual time to write like book name ये वो ऐसे करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Sometimes you just have to put the DOI number of that particular journal or particular article. It will automatically fetch the details of that particular article, and it will give you a ready reference along with the style of citation. ठीक है. So likewise only you'll have to do that. Otherwise, if you are wasting time on manual referencing writing, it will take a lot of time. ठीक है. So definitely बुक है तो बुक का अलग से लिस्ट बना सकते हैं आपके थीसिस में. चैप्टर्स इन एडिटेड बुक वो कर सकते हैं. इसको भी आपको अरेंज करना है like as per the type of reference, type of like uh, kind of literature. For example, it is in the book form. It can be written like book का list बना दो, chapters का list बना दो, or periodical journals, whatever it is, however it is. Electronic sources, sometimes you have websites पे ही कुछ articles मिलते हैं. Sometimes blogs you must have used. Sometimes some white papers of some organizations, some web documents, whatever it is. So electronic sources क्या क्या है, and accordingly you will have to write it down. ठीक है. So likewise you will have to make a list of references, and this is how your thesis will look like. I mean, should be like. I hope this is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir. Very much clear.
Any questions? Any doubts? Anything from anyone? Banani, I think you have joined just now or quite long back. So do you have to say anything?
Like Zotero, like I can use, but
Okay.
other I don't know about that much. SPSS, actually, I have not joined that course, but I have attended 2 classes on SPSS, so I have some idea about SPSS. So analysis part that will be we have to learn.
So what did you say? Can you say it again?
So like Zotero, I can use it like I can get the report, the annotation report, these things. And
Great.
like currently I'm using that for my qualitative method.
Great.
And the SPSS, like I have to learn. If there can be session on SPSS, that will be great.
Okay. All right. We can discuss with Hemangi man, and then we can probably plan it out. Okay.
Okay.
So, but structure of your thesis is clear to all of you, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, at least basic preliminary ideas you have got, right?
So, like one thing, that
Uh-huh.
methodology chapter should be the second or third chapter.
Third chapter generally. If you are a master student, or if you are a, I mean, if it is academic research, like the research which is done for the academic fulfillment of your degree, it can be
Yes,
methodology can be the third chapter. Okay. But in my slides, no, there is some kind of this was prepared for some other presentation. But here, what I suggest, you can separate your introduction, literature review, and then you can start write research methodology.
yes, sir.
So that will become a third. But in case if your guide suggests that like you can merge both introduction and literature review together, then methodology will be the second chapter.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है. Dipali, anything from your end? Okay, thank you, Hemangi ma'am, for the clarification. Usually, people don't suggest, as ma'am also said, that usually it should not be merged. Actually, it should be separated because it is both of these has separate, distinct ways. So, as ma'am also is suggesting that let us not merge. But as I said, it is definitely depend upon the college, and largely colleges don't ask you to merge it; they ask you to separate it only. Thanks for this suggestion, Hemangina. Banani, clear for you as well? Merge नहीं करना है, okay? Sheetal, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want response from Dipali. If she's traveling, then it's okay, no problem.
No, sir, it is clear, sir.
It's clear, right? Okay,
Yeah, okay, sir.
all right. So